We are live. All right. What is the biggest determinant of success for a hitter, for any athlete? We all know it's confidence. So today we're joined by John Case, owner, operator, founder of Line Drive Nation. Let me keep the intro and we'll get into it. John, thanks for joining us today. Talking about confidence.
How are you, man?
Doing excellent, man. I'm excited to get to this topic today because you obviously are an expert. For those of you that have never heard of Line Drive Nation, it's arguably the largest online video analysis online program in the country. Is that fair to say?
I would say so. I don't
Absolutely,
think yeah, absolutely.
You deal with thousands of hitters every single year. I've got his website down below. But John is in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, right?
That's right.
And he played at Middle Tennessee State University, and he's been giving lessons and doing his online program for how many years now?
In-person lessons probably for 20 years. I graduated in 98 from Middle. Now the online started in 2012. So I've been going, I guess, about 8 years with that. And really the online's kind of still give in-person lessons, but the online's kind of taken over the majority of my time.
So you hear that 10,000 hour rule. John has definitely put in well over 10,000 hours working with hitters. So he's definitely an expert as far as confidence and what creates the difference between success and failure when a hitter steps to the plate. So let's jump into it. For those of you that are joining, thank you for joining in live. Hit a thumbs up and let us know any comments down below. But confidence. What is the big deal with confidence? Where does confidence come from as a hitter?
I think confidence starts with the hitter himself, believing that you can do something. I think that's where the lessons really play into it. You know, getting those reps in and seeing the results in a cage, and then being able to take it to that plate. But I think it comes from inside the hitter himself.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It is internal. A lot of players are looking for external cues, man. They're looking for what their coach is saying. They're looking for what their teammates are doing. They're comparing themselves to others. Do you think that's healthy, or do you think that's just destroying their confidence?
I think that I kind of break it into three categories. So you've got the parents, they affect confidence. You've got coaches affect confidence, and then you've got the player himself. So I think I deal more with the youth levels, probably middle school on down. But I think the parents play a huge role in it, and I'm a big believer in you got to let the hitter play, the player play.
100%, 100%. I'll actually give you an example. I was on a call earlier today with a professional hockey player in Sweden, and he's 19 years old. This is his first year playing professional hockey. He still is struggling with his dad in the back of his mind. We're talking about a professional player, right?
Right.
You talk about the parents. He says when he makes mistakes in games, he's thinking about in the back of his head, his dad reaming him out or, giving him a hard time for making mistakes. So I think the age that you're dealing with, it's so crucial to get the parents and the players aligned, because not to say that every single one player you're working with is going to play professionally and they're going to be affected by this, but to have something as a 19-year-old that's been going on since you were probably 5 or 6 years old, that's a huge deal. Wouldn't you agree?
No, it starts early. And, I have a rule, so I have two 11-year-old teams. I've got a AA level and a AAA level team. And I have a practice rule that, we've got a smaller facility, but the parents aren't allowed in the facility during the practice.
Love
and,
that.
it's not popular with some of them, but they understand, we're trying to get them out of their hitter's ear, whether it's defense or, offensively. But you can see the hitters that I work with that, they take a swing and they turn around and they look, at the time. They're looking for that approval from them, which, and I believe it as coaches as well, that you can't have failure. And I think that's what hurts the most is if you're afraid to fail, that confidence isn't there.
I agree. So not only the parents, the coaches, and players, but it stems even bigger than that, in a sense that the players scared to fail to begin with.
Oh, absolutely. You can see it. When they step to the plate, if they're 0 for 2, or it's a big situation, runners on second and third, and you can just see the look on their face that, they just don't have that confidence because they're afraid to let the parents down, coaches down, teammates down, that type of thing.
Yeah, 100%. What about fear of success? Do you see players with fear of success?
I really think, I haven't thought about fear of success much.
Maybe they think they outperform where they should really be playing. Maybe they think, if I have this level of success, I can't sustain it, or if I have some success, I can't repeat it.
I really think that, having success breeds more success and more confidence. You can see that in game situations where, if that first inning, the first guy gets on, the second guy gets on, we start rolling. If you go, 3 up, 3 down first inning, sometimes that's a game changer for a lot of, especially youth teams.
Yeah, 100%. Momentum is such a critical factor. But let's stay on the confidence train, and I can't tell you how many times in my career that coaches or parents or instructors talked about confidence, but not many talk about how do you develop confidence, right? They say, okay, you got to be confident at the plate, you got to be confident as a player, you got to be confident, as a fielder, whatever it is, but very few really talk about the details of how do you actually be confident.
Yeah, I think it kind of plays into the things we were talking about. And I think it starts with kind of the culture of the team, I guess you could say. And what I try to do with my teams to instill confidence is, we're practicing with a purpose to get better, and we're coaching and we're teaching during, our practices. But when it comes game time, I let them play. At 11, we're calling our own, we're letting the catchers and pitchers call their own pitches. And that really makes a difference and gives them, it kind of lets them own their development and own their.
I love that.
I think it's got to be a culture of the team that, if Johnny misses the ground ball at short, we're not subbing out, putting somebody else in next inning or, whatever. We're letting him fight through whatever it is. So I think it's a culture that really helps that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because, even though baseball is such an individual statistic type sport, the culture does play a huge role into it. And you're definitely influenced by the team and the coach. And I think it's awesome to have someone for you that sets the standard. But what if you know it just as well as I do? There's a lot of bad coaches out there, right? And yeah. I don't mean to say that disrespectfully. There's just simply people that shouldn't be coaching, right? Maybe because their intent is wrong. Maybe because maybe they have a great intent, but they have bad information. Or maybe, there's a ton of reasons why, quote unquote, someone could be a bad coach. What can a player do if he's in a bad culture, if he's in a bad situation, to develop his confidence? Maybe he's stuck on a rec team, or maybe he's on a travel team where, the coach only cares about his son, or the coach only cares about a select number of players. And that could be detrimental to a kid's confidence, but how can he overcome that?
Yeah, I think there are, we say bad coaches. I think coaches have good intentions.
Most of them do.
And I think the competitiveness, of travel baseball, kind of gets there. But I think if it's a situation where it is a coach that's bad, certainly, as a parent, you need to look for a program for your player to improve that situation, a different program. But, if you're in that situation, you still have the options to, obviously, taking lessons with an instructor that you trust, instructor that's can help instill that confidence. through my program, and I hear it through, and this is the online program, I'll get messages from parents that, hey, we're kind of in the situation you were describing, that, she's not getting he or she's not getting a fair shot, those types of things. So, parents can work with their hitters at home as well, especially through our online program where, we explain everything and they can see the improvement. And that helps their confidence. So you've got to kind of do things away from the field if you can't get out of that situation that you're in with a bad coach or a bad program.
Yeah. For all of you players out there, in case you don't know, Line Drive Nation, I think what John does is absolutely crazy. It's absolutely ridiculous, the amount of value that he gives. He does online video analysis for only $20 a month. And this isn't an advertisement. This is genuinely talking about how much value John provides. $20 a month. And we were talking right before this live video. He's constantly having conversations with parents just on Messenger. Not only the video analysis, helping your player develop his swing and everything that the player needs to develop. He's helping the parents. How can the parent help their kids? How the parent can help develop the confidence in their players. I mean, that alone is worth hundreds, thousands of dollars, depending on what value you want to put on it. And I don't mean that to toot your horn or anything like that, but what you do, you provide so much value for these kids and for these parents that it's an awesome, awesome, awesome program. And sticking to that confidence theme, where do you see the confidence for a young player start developing? Where do you see it? Do you see it in the success they have on the field? I know we talked about culture, but at such a young age, do you see it starting with their success on the field, or do you see it starting at home? Do you see it starting with the amount of practice they put in? Where do you think it starts?
I think it definitely starts with the amount of practice and the home environment as well. If you, as a parent, if you can provide, an opportunity for your hitter to take lessons, it starts in kind of putting the work in, at an early age. And then, you see a transition now. We've been, I started these travel teams at 6, and, we're obviously focused on development. And, it's gotten to the point where, and players come and go for various reasons. But, it's at the point now that you're starting to see at 11, that success on the field and that confidence on the field. But that was brought on by, practices where, there's positive energy. We're not yelling at kids. We're not, it's not that type of environment that's, win at all costs. And so I think if you can find a program, for your kid that takes those values at a young age, then, they start seeing that success on the field and that confidence, as they get in that 11, 12-year-old range.
Yeah. So the theme of it seems to be put your kid in the best environment possible.
Absolutely.
Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Put your kid in the best environment possible with coaches, teammates, other parents. Put them in the best situation possible for their development. Because
that's something you have control over up until the middle school age. I mean, you have control of what league you put your hitter in, what team you put them with. If you play travel ball, you have those controls up until the point for it's time for school ball. And that's, you want to develop that confidence through those ages, because all of a sudden at the middle school level, well, now you've got a roster of 25 kids, and they have to, if they experience that failure or sit in the bench or something that hasn't happened before, they have that self-confidence from those previous years to help them through those type battles.
Yeah, there's a really tricky age I kind of want to pick your brain on a little bit, that transition from middle school to high school. So in youth sports, if you just look at the statistics, the biggest dropout, not only in baseball, in all sports, is that transition from middle school to high school. And obviously a huge factor is confidence, right? You're around much more competition. You got to fight more for your spot, right?
Right.
What do you see as, that the biggest opportunities, I'll say opportunities, for a player maybe going from middle school to high school?
Well, I mean, I think going from middle school to high school, the biggest thing you're running into there is, size. And so size and strength. And, I think because really in today, especially around here, I mean, you've got large high schools where, it's very competitive. And, you've got to have that understanding that, I'm a good player, I'm a confident player, but I'm going to have to, most likely going to have to wait my turn in some cases. And so I think that becomes, kind of the environment at home, your instructors that you work with, have to help breed that understanding that, you're quite possibly gonna have to wait your time. And I think a lot of people aren't ready and prepared to do that. And that's where you see that drop off because, maybe they were a starter or played some in middle school. Now, freshman, sophomore year, it's a tough deal. But that, you have to prepare yourself with the instructors, you work with, and with, parents have to understand that it's a fight to win a position.
Always, man. It's always, and competition, I think, is a great thing.
It is.
Competition is a great thing, but it has to be developed at a younger age. It has to be developed early to embrace it.
Yeah, and we're kind of going along the again, started these teams early at 6, and now stepping into 11 and 12 is going to be a little bit different environment as far as everybody's not going to play every game. Usually you have a roster of 10 to 12, everybody bats and that kind of thing. It's going to start getting more competitive, but they need that at this age before they step into middle school. To understand that, hey, I work and perform to play, because that's what they're going to have to do, down the line.
So what would you say the top 3 or top 2 areas where players miss out on developing their confidence? What are 3 things or 2 things that they should be doing to develop their confidence?
Well, I think number 1 is taking some kind of instruction, whether it's in person, the online program that I offer. I think that's a definite. And I think you need to get as many game reps as you can. If you can play, because you have, it's really amazing to me, and I wouldn't have said this when I first started giving lessons, but, by the time they're really 8 and 9, if you've been in a rec ball league and not that there's anything wrong with a, rec ball, but, if you're not in some kind of competitive environment, by the time you're 9 or 10, I mean, it's tough to really get in there. So I think, and the travel teams, are on the field a lot more, obviously. So they get more games in. So I think, you've got to be with a good instructor that you trust, and then definitely get as many game reps as you can.
Yeah, that instruction is so valuable. Having a coach or having a mentor, that understands who you are as a player and can guide you along is incredibly valuable. I wish I knew about you when I was in college, man. Because I'm gonna be honest, man. Even at the Division I level, I was getting fed, some misinformation, and like you said, coaches usually have good intent. Coaches have good intent.
Absolutely. Hitting has changed. I mean, it really has. From when I played, much different instruction. It's just really evolved. Even when I started, it was 20 years ago, started giving in-person instruction, but I really made the switch about to what we teach now when I started the online. And when you break it down and see, what your big leaguers, your high level players are doing versus, and these things can be put in, to young hitters, these concepts, they're not difficult. They take some, they take time, they take practice, and they take an understanding of it. But yeah.
Let me throw this in, because I think this is probably a part of your program that helps a player's confidence that they might not even realize, is that the fact that they're sending you a video, maybe the first video they ever send you,
mm-hmm.
and their swing is probably maybe not very good, right? Maybe
right.
A lot of work. just having that comparison, saying, okay, this is where my swing was a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, being able to compare it to all of the adjustments that you've helped them with. I mean, that's got to be a huge confidence boost in itself, right?
Oh, it absolutely is. And I'll give you an example. I had a softball player the other day that, the message to me was we took 100 reps, 100 swings, and I got one good one, or one that looks like what you want her to do. Yeah. And, so now, I was working with her this morning. She sent another video that, now she's putting together out of those 50 swings that she's taken, 6 or 7 of them are starting to look like what we're after. And so, yeah, when they see it, it's powerful. There's no denying it. If you go and that's why I started the online program is, I would have people come in that were taking in-person lessons and say, hey, he's just not doing what you he doesn't look at the field. He doesn't look like he does in here. I said, well, everybody's got a camera on their phone, so take a video. And so I thought, well, if they can see it, let's just try to do this online. But it is very powerful when they can see if they're improving and see if they're not improving. If you take a lesson, like when I'm throwing to somebody in the cage, I can't break them down like I can, through the online program.
Yeah, the visual feedback is invaluable in my opinion, because oftentimes too, I see coaches, they're obviously trying to explain something verbally, and the hitter may perceive something completely different. If you're talking about something specific with your swing, right? Maybe the position of your body or something that you're trying to do or something that you're trying to feel, right, compared to just simply looking at it. I mean, it's like night and day, right?
It is, absolutely. I mean, and the funny thing too is even with, you're looking at it and, if we're trying to get, some barrel depth, get our barrel in the zone early. Well, there's 3 or 4 different drills that can try to accomplish the same thing. And one drill may work for one hitter and it doesn't work for the other. And so, you still have that, what works, everybody's different.
Of course.
And so, you got to try different things to get to the point you want to be.
But there are certainly constants, right, in a successful swing.
Absolutely.
That you're trying to show, and in relation to confidence, right? If you can show X player, right, a new player in your program, that hey, you're doing this with your lower half, and it's almost identical to a professional player, right? That's a great thing. That's going to be another huge bonus for boosting their confidence.
Yeah, we use that a lot through the online program as a comparison against a big leaguer or other players that are having success. And when they can see, hey, my barrel's in the zone the same amount of time that Josh Donaldson's is in the zone, they watch, they turn that video off and they feel real good going to the cage the next day.
Definitely. That's an extremely powerful tool, man. And it's awesome that technology allows us to do that.
Oh, absolutely. I would have never thought, when we started this, that would be possible. But I really honestly, I would prefer to work with somebody online than in person, just because the results to me are quicker and hitters, like I said, gain a lot of confidence from seeing it.
Of course, man. So quick recap. So culture, surround yourself with good people, right?
Right.
Put your son, put your daughter in the best culture, the best opportunity to succeed. The visual aspect, comparing before, after, comparing to professional players. Huge confidence boost, right? Huge teaching tool. What is there anything else that you would want to add that's, I would say, crucial or a big element in confidence for players?
I just think from the, kind of going back to what we started off with, if you look at the home, or the parent relationship with the player, I think to me, that's the most important, especially for young players is, are you letting your hitter play? Are you letting them fail? And, if they have that fear of failure, that confidence just cannot be, it just won't be there.
Wow. That is powerful, man, because kids are so impressionable, man. And for you to say that, hey, I've worked with thousands and thousands of players, of youth athletes, and one of the most important factors is the parent, right?
Absolutely.
So it's I don't want to make this comparison, but I'll do it. Maybe stir up some controversy, right? Cesar Millan, right, the professional dog trainer. He says he's not training the dogs. He says he's training the owners of the dogs.
Right.
So it's almost like the same situation, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's on our teams we really strive, and it's led to some people deciding to leave the program. It's not for everybody, but my players on my team, have confidence that they can make mistakes and not, suffer a consequence, for it. And it just lets them play loose, lets them play free. And, I just think it's the best environment, best way to handle it.
That right there is what kills. I mean, you just nailed it right on the head. That is what kills so many players' confidence, is that you say fear of failure, but they're scared as soon as they mess up, someone's going to be there in their ear, right? There's going to be a consequence right away. Dad's going to be mad. Mom's going to be pissed. Coach is going to be mad. My teammates are going to be upset.
Yeah. Listen, it's you see third base coaches, practically giving a hitting lesson from the coaching box. Yeah. And then you've got, mom and dad in the same, it's a hard enough game, and it's a game of failure. It's a hard enough game without having those, external distractions. And listen, it's in lessons. It's in-person lessons. It's the same way. It's, are you going to critique me every swing, or are you going to let me figure it out a little bit? So I try to take that same, working with somebody one-on-one, that same concept as well.
So then it's, instead of having that fear of failure, you've completely flipped it on its head, where it's almost like you're embracing failure. You're allowing them to mess up, and you almost want them to mess up so they can learn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you take the swing path, for example, and you show them, hey, if you're not on plane with the pitch long enough and you're cutting down across the ball, that's the result you get. I mean, you popped up to the second baseman. You foul the ball back, and you'll get 2 strikes on them. They can't learn unless that failure happens.
That's awesome feedback, man. That's excellent insight for anyone watching. Definitely tons of valuable nuggets in that talk today. John, one thing you want to leave people with?
Just let the players play, and enjoy watching them play.
Enjoy watching them play, for sure. Create the environment, man. Embrace failure. So, pleasure having you jump on here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. For all of you guys watching, please give it a thumbs up. Share it for any player, parent that needs to hear this, for helping their players develop confidence. Ton of golden nuggets in there. Hope everyone